Hello and welcome back to Mindful Moments with Misha, the podcast. We are on episode 3 and I have a very special guest today, Aoibhinn Murphy.
Special, thank you.
Special girl.
Special girl 3, that's a nice number as well.
Special girl 3?
No, like the number 3. Should look up spiritual meaning of the number 3.
Oh, number 3. I was like, what's 3? The third podcast.
Yeah, the third one.
So we have Aoibhinn here today. Aoibhinn lives in Bali. She's a fellow Irish gal and she is half of the Serotonin Sisters Podcast. Mm-hmm. Little plug for you.
Yeah, thank you.
So we are going to have the chats today about random stuff. I don't have a plan, to be honest. We're just going to chat. And yeah, so first of all, tell me a little bit about you, who you are, what you do, where you came from.
Right, that's actually a really hard question for me.
It is. I start this with everyone. I'm like, who are you?
I think that'd be a hard question for a lot of people, because like it's like, who are we when we're not defined by like our job title or like what we've achieved and all. It's like, who are you like without all that? Someone actually, my friend Kira O'Connor, do you know her? Yeah, she's really good. She actually asked me to journal on that the other day because she was helping me with a few stuff, and I was like, right, let me just
who actually am I?
Who am I without like all like the job title? But I guess, let me see who I am. Like without my age and stuff. Like anyway, I live here in Bali now 2 years almost, which is wild to me. Like I came here with my sister in hopes to move to Australia.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like before the borders opened. We were like just waiting here for the borders of Australia to open, and then we just kind of got so settled and so in love with Bali that we just decided to stay. So, and we actually met the loves of our lives as well. So it kind of kept us here.
I think is it only 2 girls in Bali who have met the loves of your lives?
I was gonna say actually, but yeah, I've been here 2 years. I have a podcast with my sister with a very familiar background. This is it.
Is it the same?
Yeah,
exact same?
Yeah. So whenever
that was not planned.
Whenever I see it, I'm like nostalgic because right now my sister is in Ireland, so we haven't made a podcast in a while. So then being back here feels like a bit familiar. And then who am I? I'm figuring out my life about who I am right now, to be honest. And I feel like this is last year and this year so far is like being a big year or 2 years now of me figuring out who I am. Do you know what I mean? I feel like we're never going to be done figuring out who we are, but before, like when I was in Ireland, I had more of like, I was identified more about who I was like through my business, like my beauty salon, whatever. And then also like I was like the fit friend, the one who was like always exercising, like, was so much defined by my physical appearance, my physical body, and like I always had to feel like I had to look perfect with loads of lip filler and like, real blonde bleached hair, and I was defined by like my 6-pack, and that was me. Like I was the gym friend and that was my identity. And like recently, like though I said working with Kira O'Connor, I've had to like lose that identity just because it wasn't serve me anymore to be so obsessed with my appearance, so obsessed with perfection, because I was trying to be perfect for everybody else, like, and there is no perfect for everyone else, because you might like bigger legs and I might like smaller legs and blah, 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 you know what I mean? So I had to fit into this mold of like everybody's version. I had to myself, like no one was making me. And then recently I've let go of like, there's not any right or wrong way to be. It's just I am who I am. So now I feel like I'm in a bit of an identity crisis because I don't know who I am when I'm not the fit friend and when I'm not in the job title of a beauty therapist or the brow queen, or like, the like whatever, you know what I mean? So now I'm just like, who am I? Like I feel like I don't even know how to fucking dress. Like hence the reason I'm ginger. I'm gonna go to the gym after for a nice walk. But yeah, I feel like I'm really trying to figure out who I am.
But like, isn't that amazing though that like you have kind of like, I feel like so many people can relate to that of like identifying as something based off external, like your external appearance or like your job or whatever. I went through this as well. Like after I done my prep, I was like afraid of gaining weight because I was like, well, everyone knows me as being jacked. So like, if I'm not a jacked PT, then am I even a good PT? I went through that with more, like it was more so with like on the business end of things for me, that like I didn't want to look out of shape. Because I was like, people won't respect me, people know me as this person, and like so many people can relate to that. But to be able to like look at that at kind of like a bird's eye view and come out of it is like so special. And I think doing it in Bali is like really nice because no one gives a fuck over here. Like
Yeah.
you could walk around in anything and people are just like, she's just living.
Yeah.
Like it's so nice. It's like no
Like
judgment
you
zone.
Crocs and your dress on, like.
Yeah, like I went
That's
out
the
the other
vibe.
night in literally like a dress that you'd wear in Ireland with a pair of heels, and I just had a pair of Crocs on, and like
It works.
no one care. It works over here,
yeah.
but like it would work at home if people were so judgmental as well. You know.
And we had the weather for the Crocs. You don't really have the weather to wear the Crocs.
Oh, I wear Crocs in all weather.
Really?
All weather. I fucking love
They
them.
need to be fur lined or something. They're like a nice pair of socks.
My sister actually has 4-lined ones in there. They look so cozy.
Yeah, they do.
They brought out new ones as well. This is so random. They brought out new Crocs and
I've seen them, like Yeezy vibes, aren't they?
yeah, they're so cool. Half skip here. Anyways,
This podcast is sponsored by Crocs.
Sponsor my Crocs if you're listening. Yeah, so what I was going to say is, do you think that, like, had you maybe still been in Ireland right now, would you have kind of reached the point that you have reached now in, like, the self-awareness of how fixated you were on, like, your external world? Or do you think that changing environment had a big part to play in you kind of awakening, I suppose?
Yeah, like 100%. Like, well, I think Bali accelerates, like, all your... I always tell people this, like, apparently it's built on a quartz.
It's on the equator
yeah,
as well.
and,
So.
like, the line and the energy, and if you believe in energy and stuff, like, it's accelerates. So when you're happy, you're, like, the happiest happy, but when you're sad, you're the fucking saddest of sads. Like,
Me in the last 2 weeks.
You're like, how am I going to get through the day? But...
It's so traumatic.
No, literally. But, like, I... feel like I wouldn't, like, obviously if I hadn't come to Bali, I wouldn't have met the people that I met, like, and, you know, they're all, like, pivotal in my growth, you know, like, boys before I met, like, the love of my life now, we've, like, would have, like, I was always, like, trying to, my sister even actually said this to my parents, and I would always say, like, you always change for the people that you're around, not that I'm fake, like, or anything, it's just, like, I was such a people pleaser, I always wanted to be liked.
Yeah.
So I was always trying to, like, if you told me that you liked my hair brown, I would go dye my hair brown. Do you know what I mean? Or, like, if a guy told me that I was too fat, like, I would go and try, like, lose weight for this guy. Do you know what I mean? So, like, but I could never see that in myself. And it's only when, like, the people I've met and stuff here, like, have been good for my growth in terms of, like, you know, my friends and, like, they're being so supportive. But then also men, like, that maybe would have told me, like, that, like, oh, you're to this, you're to that. And then... they were, like, vessels of things that I couldn't see within myself, like, you know, that I was a people pleaser. And it's only then when I was, like, really hurt by these men, I was, like, could see it from, like, when you hit rock bottom, you see yourself from a perspective, you know what I mean? Like, you can see yourself from a different point of view. So, yeah, like, the people I've met here, and then obviously, like, the way you do feel a little bit, like, more free here, that, like, it doesn't matter if you have big lips or big legs, you see, like, a lot of different types of body types, and you're like, okay, it's actually okay to be this way. And, like, people aren't slagging people for, you know, at home people are like, oh, like, did you see her hair, like, you, like, conscious of your hair, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like when you grow up and you hear your mom, like, maybe talking about someone who has this, then you kind of, like, deem that thing as bad then as you grow up or something, you know? So yeah, definitely the environment played a pivotal part, and the people I met more as well, like, have played a big part in, like, why I decided to kind of, like, lose that identity and stuff like that. And I think as you get older, you know, like, our moms and stuff, they be wearing, like, I don't know, my mom does, like, Asics with a pair of jeans. I'm like, she just doesn't give a fuck anymore, do you know what I mean? So, like, I think as you get older, you tend to not give a fuck anymore.
Yeah, you need to try, like, lose the...
what people think, really.
Yeah,
is
like, stuff that just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But, like, I also feel like you have to, I've said this in podcasts before, but, like, you have to hit rock bottom sometimes for you to realise, okay, shit needs to change.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you have, like, people-pleasing behaviours, or if you're, like, constantly trying to impress other people, or, like, not impressing yourself. Like, when you do these things, are you actually happy? You know, like, when you're pleasing other people, or when you're, like, drinking and you don't want to drink, you're just doing it to fit in, or, like, so many different, like, things that you could be doing that doesn't actually align with your values, but you're doing it. Usually something's missing in you, do you know? And then, like, it takes you hitting that rock bottom point to be like, like, what am I actually doing here? I'm not happy. I'm pleasing other people, and the other people don't care for it. Like, they don't care if you're pleasing them or, like...
But because they're probably trying to please you.
It's exactly.
It's like
such a mutual...
You think that everyone's looking at you, but, like, that person thinks, like,
you're...
that everyone's looking at them.
Yeah.
So everyone's just so focused on themselves.
Yeah,
like,
I literally only said this to one of my clients yesterday. Like, we are all the main character in our own lives.
Yes.
So... like, no one gives a fuck about you.
Yeah.
Like, when you're out in the gym, like, because a lot of my clients would really struggle with, like, gym anxiety and stuff, and I'm like, no one actually cares. And if they care, they're someone who has, like, deep healing to do, because they're, like, they're triggered by the environment around them.
Yeah,
you know?
what, like, someone thinks of you says more about them than it does of you.
Yes.
And I've seen this really cute... I love going on Pinterest rather than Instagram
I love
now, because my
Pinterest.
Pinterest is, like, more adapted to, like, me rather than Instagram, where people put up things that maybe you don't want to see.
Yeah.
But it was like the only two people that you should impress is your 5-year-old self and your 85-year-old self.
Oh, I love that.
Like your inner child,
and then
your
old.
future, like, older person when you're on
That's
not
so
your
cute.
deathbed. Hope you don't die at 85. But when you're, like, old and you're, like, you know, like,
when you're old and feeble and like...
even now, like, I'm 25 and I look back at things I did when I was 15, no, not even 15, like, fucking last year, to be honest, but, or, like, 19, and I was like, God, like, I cared so much what... like, other people were doing, like, back then. Like, I did so much shit for, like, other people and now at 25 I'm glad I can even say Jesus Christ. So imagine when we're 85, we're gonna be like, fucking hell, like...
I think people are awakening at, like, a much younger age recently, like, because I'm the same, like, I'm only 23, but, like, I feel like I've come through, like, my people-pleasing behaviours and my toxic traits, like, as a human. Like, we all have toxic traits, we all have things that we can change and things that we can do better, like, to just be a better human. Like, when you look back at situations in your life, for me, like, when I look back on, like, relationships, friendships, I could always take things that I needed to change in it, rather than just, like, blaming the other person for, like, why that didn't work out or whatever. But to be able to look back at such a young age and be like, I worked on all of that, like, when I was so young, so that I can have a better life when I'm older, and I don't need to, like, you know, when you look at people in their 40s and 50s and, like, they're still carrying so much baggage of, like, their younger life. And I think it's, like, it's becoming a societal thing now that it's, like, it's a trend to, like, do the inner work.
Yeah, which is a good trend.
It's a good trend. It, like, it can be toxic. Like, it has got its toxic traits of, like, this whole toxic positivity and all the rest. But, like, it's a good trend because so many people are hopping on it without even realising. Like, you know, when people go to, like, the beach full moon things and all the rest, like, they're going for the Instagram picture, but, like, subconsciously they're doing a bit of healing. And it's, like, it's actually so nice to be able to be, like...
the lucky girl syndrome, like, on TikTok, like, that's basically, you know, law of attraction in a way, or, like, law of expectation, because you're expecting good things to happen to you. So that's a good trend. Like, it is a good trend to be influenced by.
Without even realising, people are participating in, like, collective healing. And I can see a shift in, like, people being, like, more aware of, like, their own behaviours and, like, what they need to change. And, like, it's so nice to be like, right, we can, like, go into our 30s, like, being hopefully, like, free of all the baggage. Like, how nice is that? And
then obviously having, like, children, if you choose to have children, you can, you know, if, like, a kid is mean to them on the playground, instead of them being, like, trying to people please that kid into liking them, you can teach your child, like, okay, that person obviously has, like, you know, issues within themselves. It's not you, it's them. You know what I mean? And then your kid won't take it as personal and, like, won't grow up with some kind of, like, trauma from that, or... you know,
and then you're also not passing on your negative traits to your kids as well then, because obviously, like, it goes through families, like
generational healing and stuff like that. If you
I feel like we are the people who are breaking it, you know, like, we are the generation now that's breaking, like, generational trauma. Like, even I can, like, within, like, my own, like, family unit, I'm like, I feel like I've been the person that's been like, okay, I'm taking charge of this, like, you know, and I'm breaking it, which is really nice, because then I feel like the people that have come before you feel safer to do that then as well, because they're like, oh, she's doing this, so can I.
And it can be traumatic, like, even when you're going through anything, like, you know, like, breakups or, like, losing your job, and at the time you're like, why me? This is so hard. Like, do you know what I mean? But nearly, like, in a way, if you can reframe your mind, and it's hard to do in the moment, but the more shit that you go through earlier on in your life, the, like, more life experience that you have, and, like, the more growth you'll get and stuff, because, like, and then, like, the best, like, you know, the best writers and, like, the best, you know, business people and stuff, like like have all come from like really challenging times, like you know, when they're like, God forbid someone dies close to them, and you know, they've come from nothing, they've struggled, they've been poor, they've been starving, like they're all the ones that be nearly the most successful, because they've been so far like pushed out of their comfort zone that they have nothing else to do, like nothing to lose, to just grow, and then they turn out to be the most successful people, or like the most like learned people, or people that help people the most, because they've had the most life experience. Or if you just had this like happy life, like linear, always got what you wanted, like when you wanted it, like you're not relatable to people, you're not
there's
able
no
to really
reason for you
people.
to push boundaries as well.
Yeah, like you're not really able to help people, like give advice, because you haven't been through what they've been through. You've not been vulnerable like they have, you know what I mean? So like, okay, it's hard when you're going through, at the time you're like, sometimes you can't really see a
You're just like, I wish I wasn't going through this.
But when you do reflect on it, you're like, and most of the time, like a lot of people would never take back the shit that's happened to them, because it's made them who they are today.
I spoke about that in my first episode, like use your pain as fuel. Like, as hard as it is, like literally, like what you said, the most successful people wouldn't be where they are without having gone through some sort of trauma, or some sort of like pivotal moment in their life where they thought they couldn't go further. Like, there's always two sides to a situation, and like you could be faced with the worst like possible situation for you. Like, everyone's worst situation is different, but like your worst nightmare could end up being the best thing that ever happened to you, but you need to change your mindset on it. Like, you need to not dwell and sit in the sadness of it and in like the hardship of it, because that's only going to dig you a deeper hole of not being able to move forward. You need to be able to like flip the script and be like, okay, everything happens for you in life, like nothing happens to you. And I think if you can shift the victim mentality, like, it's really hard, but that's like a part of healing, where you need to like literally call yourself out on your bullshit and be like, I'm the only person that's in charge of changing the narrative of this story, of carving a new pathway, and of making something of myself from the pain. Like, I spoke about that in episode 1 of like stuff I went through, like trauma I went through in childhood, and stuff that was like really hard, and I was a victim to it for a long time. Like, I didn't want to heal from it. I didn't want to be better or do better. I was like, well,
so it's just like your identity almost.
Yeah, I
like
identified as that person.
Start,
yeah, like I was really stuck in my identity for such a long time. Like, for my whole childhood, my whole teenage years, I was the depressed friend, I was the anxious friend, I was the like miserable friend, I was like literally riddled with anxiety. I could never have imagined like even owning my own business, helping women like become better, like more confident, like helping them grow, because I couldn't talk to anyone, like I couldn't do anything. But like, I reached that point where literally you hit rock bottom and you're like, okay, I'm in charge of this, and I have the choice to carve a new pathway. And the struggles I went through them to be able to pass my knowledge on to others, you know. So like, if you are going through a tough time, like, try reframe your mindset in the sense that, okay, this is shit in the moment. Like, grant yourself permission to be upset. You're allowed to be upset. You're allowed to feel down. You're allowed to be depressed. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But what you can't do is sit in it and dwell in it forever, because where are you going to go? Like, what's going to happen from there? You're just going to be stuck in a cycle. You're going to be on a hamster wheel literally for the rest of your life if you don't choose to break through it. And that's kind of a lot of like the generational healing. Like, people are choosing now to be like, okay, I can rewrite this story, like, and I can change. And it just comes, it's for personal like development as well. Like, you made the decision to like change your environment to allow yourself to heal, you know, and to allow yourself to be free. Like, we all deserve to feel happy. Like,
I don't know where it came from that we were like, life is meant to be hard, and like, you're meant to
it's not
all
like
this. I know. And as well, like, not only is like staying in that like, you know, victim mentality and being identified by that like trauma or whatever is going to be emotionally painful, but also like, I believe, and if like some people do believe it, like if you like, you know, dwell on that the whole time, that can manifest as a physical illness as well.
I really agree with this as well.
So like, there's a book called, well, Louise Hay, she's an author, she wrote the book like You Can Heal Your Life, but she also has like a different parts of the body signify like different kind of limiting beliefs. So like your back will signify like financial support, like lower back is like financial support, shoulders is like a lot of like responsibility, like if you have shoulder pain or back pain or ear pain or eye pain, like you might
That's
not
so
be seen properly. Yeah, like it can be a bit far-fetched for some people, but I believe in it, you know. So it's right. No, I'm joking. I believe in it. So
I'm right, you're wrong.
Yeah, no, I believe in it. I really feel like it does correlate to, you know, like when you have a physical illness in your body or like a pain that you can't get rid of for years. It could be like related to
emotions,
a limiting belief or a trauma that you have stored in your body, because your body does store trauma.
But it's all energy, like, so this is like, I believe all of this as well, because like when you think of it, okay, like we're energy bodies, and emotions and even physical pain, it's all energy. So
emotion literally means energy in motion.
So if you're like, I had this when I was younger, like I was always sick, but nothing was ever wrong with me. Like I'd get blood tests, I would get x-rays, I would like, my doctor hated me, I'd say, but like I was literally that patient that just no one ever knew what was wrong. Yeah, but it's like my body was like and I was in pain, I was sore, but like there was no explanation for what was going on in my body. But then when I started unlocking like the trauma I had been through, stuff I was going through, I spent years being really depressed, so my physical body was starting to like literally be like, send help. Send help. You need to sort out.
You're altering your genes.
Yeah, like you need to sort out your emotions, and then your physical will get better. And there's like a modality of healing called pranic healing, and my dad is pranic healer, and I actually done a level of it as well. But that's all based around like your chakras. So like it's based on 11 major chakras, and you like with pranic healing, someone can come in with like a stomach pain, and through energy healing they can get rid of it, because it is energy. So I definitely agree with that like if you're not looking after the mental, like physical ailments are gonna start coming from it. So like that should be motivation enough for people to be like, okay, I need to look after my mental health, because it's gonna lead to a decline in like my general like quality of life.
Yeah, and even yoga, like a lot of people, like I'm a yoga teacher now actually, but a lot of people like do yoga just for flexibility and like, you know, just to calm themselves, which is all exactly what it is for. But also like, you know, some people could like that haven't done yoga like ever could go into a butterfly pose, which is like, you know, you open your legs and you store a lot of your emotions in your hips, or like everyone's different, but a lot of people store their emotion in the hip. And like I've heard people go into a butterfly pose and just start bawling, crying, because
you're
that's
releasing.
the first time that they've opened, you know, that part of their body and fully like that, and just sat with it, and like these emotions might come up for them that they didn't even know were there, and they start bawling, crying. Or, you know, like heart opening flow, you might then like you just like have different emotions come up, and like, and that's the first time people have actually sat with themselves in a yoga class, and that's when like, you know, flashbacks, or just like they might just feel emotional and start crying, because that's where their body stores those suppressed emotions.
Yeah, because like your body holds on to things and remembers things so much that like your mind wouldn't even like phantom is real. And that's like becoming in touch with like your mind and body together, which is amazing. Like I only tried yoga for the first time last week.
Really?
I need to get into it. Like
is it Becca's thing?
Yeah, it was amazing.
I should
but
take
like
you for a yoga
I'm
class.
literally we have to do it on
Like
the
I'll
beach
do
one day.
I'll do one in the mornings.
I'm like about as gracious as a baby elephant doing yoga. I'm so stiff.
But that's
like,
the thing about yoga.
I was literally like, oh my god, like trying to move into these poses,
especially
and
your body, like, when you've been bodybuilding for
so like I
years.
lift heavy weights all the time, so like my body, my flexibility is like shocking. And like Becca put up a video, and I was like, I actually look like a baby elephant in the front of that class, like, but it was amazing, and the release I got from it was so nice that I was like, okay, I need to do more of this. Like I need to stop focusing so much on like heavy lifting, because like it also puts you in a state of fight or flight, because your heart rate is constantly elevated, whereas like I was so chilled out that morning that I was like, I need to like have the balance of like, you know,
that was
high
like
intense and then
what
relaxing.
I was talking about as well with the identity, like when I identified so much with like heavy lifting and like strength and conditioning classes and being able to run 10k easy and be a Muay Thai fighter, like whatever, you know, and that was like my nervous system's baseline was like way up. Like,
yeah, that's me right
fight
now.
or flight was my natural way of being. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't like know, like if I sat in on a Sunday, I would get like real antsy and itchy and like depressed. Like, okay, not depressed, but like in a low mood
Yeah,
or low
like
vibration,
you feel
because
like you need to.
my body needed that hit of adrenaline that I was giving it every day. It was like a drug addict, like in a way. Like, I am addicted to this adrenaline hit. So when I like rested or sat in on a Saturday, like a Sunday or whatever day, if I was injured or something, I had to sit out. It's like my body was like looking for a way to get this like adrenaline.
Yeah.
So like I've really, and that was part of my identity. So I've really had to like slow down and take away that like need for adrenaline, and like that was really hard for me to do, because that's all I've known basically for like so long. And so not only was I like, it's hard to do, was like to put on weight, that's not really even weight, but like to like let go of my lean physique as my identity, but also like retrain my nervous system to get like come out of fight or
feel
flight,
safe, to
and
feel relaxed.
Yeah, because like you know that you should take a rest day, but your body doesn't feel safe.
Doesn't feel safe to do it. Yeah.
So like I've had to like retrain not only then like my physical body and my let go of like things identified by my physical, but also my my emotional and like my like nervous system, and retrain all that. Like, so it was such a process.
Yeah,
know?
but like you literally went from 0 to 100 with that as well. Like you just went
Yeah.
all in on
Yeah.
all of it at once. Like when I came back to Bali, I was like, Aoibhinn is like different now.
Yeah, this is like that was
like you weren't in sauna every day. You weren't like, but it was so refreshing to see because I could just see that like you were happier as well.
Yeah.
Like I literally said to you when you got back from Aoibhinn as well, I was like, your whole aura is just lighter. Like you just seem light again.
And say, speaking of the physical illnesses or like that manifest when you don't listen to your body, they'll manifest in the physical. Your body's like, hello, listen to me. I like lost my period I've always kind of lost my period, and like as a female, we are so many things as a woman, but as a female, like primarily our main function is to just reproduce. So if your body can't even perform its main function that you're put on this earth to do, there is something wrong. Like is a main alert in your body. So like I was losing my period, and like I wasn't respecting my like basing myself. Like I wasn't respecting my body for what I could do. I was like, oh great, I don't have my period, means I can train more, and I don't have like, but I didn't have like sex drive and didn't have personality, because your hormones are your personality.
Yeah.
So like I've had to, because I was ignoring myself and disrespecting myself so long, that was like my red alert, was like basing on a period. So then as I like grow older and realize that like physical appearance is not everything, and like it doesn't matter if you work out or what you eat, like, you know, you're not identified because you eat lean protein or whatever, you know. And I've had to like slow down and relearn that like my period is like so important and stuff like that. So it just all kind of ties in together, you know.
Yeah, it does. It's so important. Like, and that's like a matter of like listening to the signs that your body gives you. I think we're all, especially I think for people who come from, obviously you come from a bodybuilding background as well. You're literally trained when you're bodybuilding to ignore your body.
Yeah,
if you're tired, you're still training. If you're depleted,
if you're hungry,
still go. If you're hungry, you're not eating.
No.
Like, if you lose your period, great. We're lean enough. Yeah. Like, you know, you're trained to ignore literally the red flags of your body. So it's really hard to start listening to it then. But like, it's so important for even people who aren't like into bodybuilding or whatever. It goes for all walks of life. Like, you need to be in touch with
like
your body.
Like, we were addicted to like weight, like lifting, but people are addicted to work, and like they'll like work and like miss meals because they're still working, and like stay up and miss sleep, and that can like dysregulate your body in ways.
Yeah, it does. Like that, like it's burnout. Like at the end of the day, you can burn out from so many different things, and like that's something that I'm really working on right now as well. Is like I'm such a workaholic. Like I will work all day and not stop, and it's so unhealthy. Like, because I literally only realised in the last couple of weeks, I was like, I came out to Bali again to obviously work really hard in my business in a good environment, but also to have balance with my life. And when I reflected on like my first 3 months back in Bali, I was like, haven't had much balance.
Yeah.
Like I've literally been in go mode, and that's amazing because I'm like I have deadlines on stuff that I want to like release, things I want to do, so I'm like I'm working in that sense, but you also need to give yourself a break. Like you need to have, you can't just be all work no play, and like your body will give up. Like the amount of times in the last month that I've had like little niggles, little pains, like sore throat, like just not feeling like me, and I knew I was like I'm burning out, and then I was just ignoring it. So like you need to listen to your body and be like respect it, like respect yourself enough to slow down and stop when you need to. Like it's okay to rest. Like this whole hustle culture is, it's not so toxic sometimes.
It's hustle culture, I think, is like toxic, but also it's not for women. And like that's not to say, and like it's probably not for men in some instances as well, but like as women, like we like should like live by our cycle in a way. It's not easy for everyone to do. They can't take like the week off when they're menstruating or whatever, like from work, but like it's not like when you're coming into your luteal phase, so like the autumn of your cycle, and you're starting to get your PMS and stuff, like the 5 a.m. club is not for you. Like you need the extra sleep to rejuvenate. Like you need to, you know, do more low intensity exercise, like especially as the closer it gets to actually like your bleed. So like hustle culture is not like, it might be hustle culture for the follicular phase and coming into ovulation, like hustle, like get that fucking shit done, so that when you do have your period that you can take a step back and relax, you know what I mean,
and give yourself permission to do it as well.
I always say like how your life feels is more important than how it looks to others. You know what I mean?
Like if your life looks like a rose garden on the outside, but the roots of the rose are literally like dead. Like the roots of that rose could be dead, but the rose is still alive right now because it hasn't like
it's like health. Like we see people that are really lean and they have six pack, and you're like, oh, she's so fit, she's so healthy, but like
she's not.
She doesn't have a period, like probably, and
she has like chronic fatigue.
Have chronic fatigue, or like she might have an Achilles tendon that we just don't see because she's so lean that like it looks like she's healthy. You know, like
it's not everything is how it looks on the outside. So you need to take everyone's life with a pinch of salt as well, like, and that's why like I always say to people, like, you need to filter your social media, and you need to like filter what you look at, because, and also have a rational mind when you're looking at social media, when you're looking at people's lives or people on holidays, like business people and stuff. Like it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
And you compare yourself to people like, oh, I'd love to have her life, but it's like, okay, you'd love to have her life in the work aspect, like, you know, Tammy Hembray, you'd love to have like her business, like she has Tammy Fit and then she has Saskia or the clothing brand, but then like you don't know what her love life is like, and like what pain she has there with like, you know, the father of her kids, or you don't know what like, you know, anything like what relationship she has with her mom or something, you know. So you like you compare your life to someone else, like I'd love to have theirs, but like you'd love to have theirs in that aspect, the
surface level
work,
aspect,
but then you
it.
don't know like, would you like to have their life in the whole thing? Like you don't know what childhood trauma she's been through and carrying that around, or do you know what I mean? So it's like, be careful what part of their life that you wish for, you know.
Like it's all surface level, I say. Like when you're looking at people's lives, literally, like just looking in on it, like you're only scratching the surface of someone's life. And that's like even like on my own social media, like I have like a personal account where I just post all my like cute Bali bits, and then I have my business account which I post real life stuff on as well, because I'm not just going to show people like that living in Bali is literally the most amazing thing on planet Earth and that I'm living my best life. I am, but I also have shit as well, and it makes it more relatable for people to be like, okay, like my life is not a pile of crap because I don't have her life. Do you know what I mean? Like you can, like, you create the life that you desire to have. I truly believe like that you're in control, like you're in the driver's seat of how your life goes. And if you're not happy with where you are right now, it's okay to use other people's lives as inspiration, but don't wish to have their life, because you don't know what that person is going through. Like, just even example for, like, I know, like, all of the girls I know living in Bali, like, we all created this for ourselves. We all made the decision to get up, to leave our jobs, to move our businesses online, to, you know, we made moves to allow this to happen, and we took the leap. And, like, same for you, like, you took the leap, you took a chance, didn't know where it was going to go, how it was going to end, but you're like, I just know that this is what I want right now. So, but even at that, you still have shit days. Like, just because you're living your dream life or living your best life doesn't mean that it's perfect all the time. And most people aren't documenting their bad days. They're not documenting the days that they're sitting at home crying, or
Thankfully, more
the
and more
weeks.
people are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and vulnerability is relatable.
It's
and
becoming really not popular to be vulnerable, I suppose. Like, but in the sense that it's okay. Like, I used to try hide my vulnerabilities, like, because it was like weakness. Whereas now, yeah, it's like people appreciate it and people respect it. And I actually find with my social media, like, when I come on and have the chats and like be a bit vulnerable, or like last week when I was feeling really homesick, I was like not afraid to post it on my page. Like, the amount of my clients or like just followers that were like, it's actually so refreshing to see someone share real life shit, like, because that's what we need more of, and it is becoming more.
And it makes you feel more normal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just like, thank God it's not only me.
Yeah, like, you know, when you look at someone's page, you're like, are they actually that happy all the time? Like, is that actually reality? Like, but it's not.
Most of the time, you know, it's not.
Yeah, you know, it's not. Like, if you have to, I always say, like, if you have to portray your life as so perfect on social media, like, chances are it's the farthest thing from that. Like, you know, people who always like say they're in a relationship with their partner and they like plaster their partner on their social media and they're like, he's the best person ever and like this and this and this, and I'm like, what are you like compensating for? Now that's not like, that's a generalization. Like, I know some people just like posting their lives, which is grand, but you can kind of see people who are looking for that external validation in a way to be like, my life is actually okay.
Like, even from my own experience, like, I know when I struggle the most with like my appearance was when I post the most.
Yeah, because when someone likes your picture, you're getting dopamine hit. Like, you're getting a hit of dopamine. So then the more likes that come in, you're like, I'm validated. Yeah. I actually am pretty.
And it's so sad because like when I was my most insecure self and like I hated my body most and was like starving myself to change it and stuff. And now I look back and I was like, I was so beautiful like back then. Do you know what I mean? I was like, why was I so insecure, you know what I mean? Like, and even now, like, I'm fully trying to accept myself for everything I am, like, because, you know, when you look back on pictures and you thought you were fat and you're like, I wish I was fucking fat if that was fat, like, do you know what I mean?
I know.
And, like, I like look back now and I was like, I like what like was so self-conscious back then, like, so even now when I look in the mirror, like, I have cellulite or whatever, and I'm like, I'm okay with that, because I know that I'm going to look back in like next year or the year after and be like, why was I so worried? Like, do you know what I mean?
Like, you have a human body. Like, humans have cellulite, they have stretch marks, they have fat rolls. Like, it's normal. It is literally like, we need to normalize normal bodies, and like,
and that's why normal Bali is like, you might see an influencer online that you like really like have seen over the years and look up to them like, whoa, like her body's unreal, and then you see her in the gym here, and when she like, you know, bends over, she still has like her stomach comes a little bit over her leggings, or she actually does have cellulite when she's running on the treadmill or something, and you're like, fuck, thank God I'm normal. Like,
but then it's like they're filtering that on social media and making it look like they don't have it, so it's like you're always like torn between like what you're looking at and then what actually is reality, and that's where you need to remind ourselves, like, and literally stop just being dickheads to ourselves. Like, this is like literally the word I use all the time. Like, stop being a fucking dickhead to yourself. Like, like whenever my clients are like beating themselves up or like struggling with body image or like body checking, I'm like, why are you giving yourself permission to be mean to yourself? Like, you're working hard. If you are actively trying to change the things that you're insecure about, like things that you really want to change, like if you really want to drop body fat, if you really want to gain weight, like if it's something that you're really insecure about and you're doing the work, like whether it's like your physical appearance, whether it's something inside you, once you're showing up and doing the work, that's all you can do. And you need to then just be kind and compassionate to yourself every day and like literally treat yourself as you would treat someone else. Because like, I would never turn around to my friends and be like, oh my God, like, you have cellulite on your legs, or look at those stretch marks, or look at that little fat roll on your back. You wouldn't do that to your friend, like, so why are we so okay with doing it to ourselves?
And most of the time it's a mindset, like, you know, like I would look this like the same maybe all month round, and when it's coming into my period, so I'm in like my luteal phase, like, so I'm in my PMS phase, I look in the mirror and I'm like, I am fucking whale. I'm so fucking fat.
This is me.
And then I'm like,
me
what
last
is
week,
wrong
I seen
with
you in the
me?
gym and I was like, Aoibhinn, I'm so bloated. Like, I just feel so shit. And you were the same, I think, that week. We were both like,
Yeah, 'cause
I actually got my
just
period the
finished
next
it.
day after that. So I was like,
Yeah.
this explains it. But like, you don't really look that different.
Yeah, and then, or else, like, you could have a takeaway in a Chinese and you look in the mirror and you're like, I'm fucking huge. Like, your body has not changed.
No.
But your mindset just has, like, you have the guilt of a takeaway, you have food guilt and stuff. Or, like, yeah, or, like, you could be in a bad mood and you see yourself and you're like, I look terrible. And then you look in the mirror the next day and you're happy again. And you're like, geez, I look great. It's all, like, what colour glasses that you're looking out of. Like, if you're looking out of, like, grey glasses, like, you're going to see the world as grey. And, like, are you a glass half full or a glass half empty kind of person? And then, like, you could be in the best mood ever and, like, everything's great and the world is amazing and you look great and you're like, I love myself for who I am. So it's like, except, like, we're not going to show up every day as the person that loves themselves, and we're not going to show up every day as the person that hates themselves. So it's like, you know, accept yourself as the person you are today. Do you know what I mean? And then just, like, know that if you feel shit, it's temporary, and know that if you feel great, it's temporary, but just accept either.
Enjoy all of the moments, like, enjoy the ride, because
you can't have, like,
you
sunshine,
can't,
or you can't have rainbow without a little rain. Like,
and then, like, you can't be on a roller coaster without, like, the downs. Like, you can't go up without going down. So you need to, like, literally, I keep hitting off that mic. You need to enjoy every part of the process and just be thankful for it and grateful for it, because.
And it is hard to do in the moment, but, like, the more that you practice, like, you know, reframing your mindset in those moments of down, or, like, find the silver lining in each, like, moment, each bad moment will get, like, less of a downfall.
It's,
you know
not
what I mean?
so intensified, because, like, you have the tools in your toolkit
Yeah.
to be like, I've been here before, I know what this looks like, I have these tools to deal with it.
That's what I'm saying. Imagine when we're, like, 85, we're going to be just so mellow.
We're going to be, like, literally rocking around with a big, huge
so mellow
backpack.
Because we have this huge toolkit that, like, every time you have a down, it's not
every time you
be
feel
as
something,
down.
you're like, I've been here before.
Yeah, do you know?
So, like, that's why, like, it's good to go through bad times, because you're gaining so much experience from it. Like, you're literally embedding yourself with all of the, like, tools, all of the knowledge to be able to, like, pass it on to others and to be able to use it yourself in the future. So, like, just be grateful for the experiences.
So if it's, like, a little reminder right now, if, like, whoever's listening is going through some shit, or, like, not feeling great, like, it's okay. Like, this will make you stronger. Like, this will show you growth.
Yeah,
and, like, it's
and it
temporary.
will pass as well.
Yeah, it will temporary.
Yeah, it will pass.
So don't worry, like, you know.
Yeah, like, this is kind of, like, I feel like a lot of my episodes are gonna, like, be same, like, not the same message behind them, but, like,
you're reinforcing.
It's always like I'm reinforcing, like, and then you have a different perspective on things that other guests will have, and like everyone can take something different from what we speak about. Like, you know, it's okay to be down, it's okay to have bad days, like, and it's okay to go through a shit time. And if you feel like you're literally on this never-ending train of shite right now, that's okay.
Yeah.
But you need to be the person that steps up and takes the action to making it better, and to finding the tools that work for you, and to, like, creating the life that you deserve. Like, we all deserve to live a great life and live your best life. But you just need to, what?
I said live your best life.
Yeah, live your best life. But you have to give yourself permission, like, grant yourself permission that you can live that life, and also believe that you deserve it. Like, when you believe you deserve things, they come to you, you know?
And, like, belief comes with, like more reinforcement.
Yeah.
Like, if your mom says to you as your kid, you're the best kid ever, and she says it to you every day, you're going to believe it.
You're
like,
going to grow up believing you're the shit.
That's why, like, the more, like, you reinforce, even if it's the same message in a different perspective, the more you reinforce for your listeners that they can do this, like, and they listen weekly, like, that's going to be, like, subconsciously planting seeds in their head that, like, reminds them
carving
more.
A new neural pathway, one episode at a time.
Exactly. That's literally what this, like, is. Like, they're making a new, neuroplasticity, like, making a new pathway every time they listen, like, okay, maybe I can do it, you know? And, like,
and it's so important.
Like, all you need is, like, someone, like, what really helps is finding someone, like, if you're going to compare your life to anyone, compare it to someone that you're, like,
inspired by.
They've done it, so what's the difference between me and them? So then how can I do that as well? Like, say for me, like, moving to Bali, like, Siobhan Hegarty.
It makes it Siobhan and Sinead.
Yeah, they makes the two of them together. Siobhan and Sinead were like, I was like, well, they can do it, and, like, what's the difference between me and them? Like, obviously they have a few extra 100,000 followers. Like,
just a
and
few.
probably a bit more money in the bank account. But anyway, I was like, there's no difference really, like, in human being potential between
There's
me
not.
and them. So then I was like, if they've done it, so can I. So like they were like my inspiration of it. And like, you know, say like sometimes you might feel a little lost, and like, you know, everyone's felt a little lost at times, and if people can go at 26 with 0 euro in the bank account to 29 with 3 million or whatever in their bank account, like, so find someone who, like, you know, is in a similar
Inspires
situation
you
or
in a good way.
yeah, and literally be influenced in the best way by them.
Yeah,
And
positive
then,
influence.
yeah, and then like start creating that like new neural pathway in your head that will lead you to your like outcome that you want.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about, I always say, like, chipping away 1% better each day. Like, just making those little changes. It's not about climbing the whole staircase on day one, being like, I want to go from here to here, and then expecting yourself to be there straight away. It's like literally about putting one foot in front of the other, making the moves, filtering out the shit in your life that doesn't serve you, and adding in the things that do. But yeah, I think we'll wrap our episode up here. Yeah, I really enjoyed that chat. That was so fun.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I feel like this is like our normal talk though. Even
yeah,
though
that's
like,
why I was like, when I was like the other day, I was like, I need to like sort out my next guest, and I was like, I just love our chats. Like, you know, when you go away from it, like chatting with someone, and you feel uplifted, you're like,
like we don't.
Let's go do this
as well in Bali. Like when you meet someone, like a lot of people I talk to anyway, we don't have conversations talking about someone's hair or like,
no, we talk about deep shit all the time.
Or like, oh my god, my childhood trauma, and like my body is storing this. Like we have all these type of conversations. We're not talking about like Sally Lou's fucking thing she put on Instagram last week, or
like
we're talking about. This is literally
our
how
journeys. We sit in Soma and we're like talking about this stuff we just spoke about here, but like that's how you should talk to your friends. Or like
if one of us is going through some shit, we're like, yeah, but like what can you learn from that now? Like what can you
take
away
last
from
week
that?
when I was having a meltdown, you were like, I mean, you're gonna learn from it.
Yeah, it's
like
this is your path, this is your matrix path.
It is though, like, and it's so nice to have friends that you can talk like that with, because like I'm such a deep person. Like I can have obviously surface level conversations, but I don't like it. Like I actually don't enjoy it. Like it's not meaningful conversation. I'm not benefiting anything from it. So like whenever I meet someone, I'm like, tell me about your trauma. Like I want to know your life.
There's and energy drainers, and these type of conversations. Hopefully, for you listening as well.
Yeah, hopefully gives you energy. Yeah, so that's why I was like, this is gonna be a fun episode, because like I feel like we're just sitting having a coffee and a chat. Yeah. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed listening, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And I will see you all in the next episode.